confirmation students, or any of their parents who have sat in on class, or another parent adult who's done so, they might tell you about a rhetorical question that I try to ask most weeks during our lessons together. Why are we learning this stuff, Pastor Lisa? What's the point? In other words, why do the things our young people learn in confirmation class matter at all? What use or point does it have in their daily lives? And you can maybe push it even further. Why does the gospel matter at all? These are, I think, some of the types of questions that Jesus is tackling in one way or another in Matthew's account of the Sermon on the Mount. He has the disciples gathered around him. They are presumably ready to get to the hard work of discipleship. But here Jesus is still yakking at them, scarcely taking a moment to even breathe. What's the point, Jesus? Why do we need to know who's been blessed? And what's this weird stuff about salt and light? Let's just go out and try to heal some people and watch you do your thing. I can imagine the disciples asking and wondering these things to themselves as they sit down for this long lesson. I can imagine their eyes glazing over, not unlike the eyes of some confirmation students some of the time. I'll admit it, they have. Now, I don't know if the disciples were bored that day, but they were getting a lot of information about what it means to follow Jesus, about what it would mean to be a disciple. It had to have been a lot to take in, a lot to absorb. But was that all that they were supposed to do? Take in a bunch of information, compartmentalize it along with a million other things they heard that day? I'm sure our answer to that today would be, of course not. No. They were Jesus' disciples. They needed to do something with everything he was teaching them. It's why he called them in the first place. Already, we've heard that Jesus has said to the disciples that the people whom the rest of the world looks down upon are actually blessed and to be cared for. That's great, Jesus. But why? Well, it matters because the disciples are the ones who've been called to share the gospel with those who have been blessed. It's time for these guys to live out and to live into all that Jesus had called them to be for the world. Salt and light. To be honest with you, that image really confused me. And I'm certain that I've used it in a sermon before or a Bible study to ultimately say, hey, you're an awesome disciple. Keep shining. But now Jesus' declaration that the disciples are salt and light seems pretty daunting to me. It's almost as though I hear Jesus saying, don't let the words of the gospel become stagnant or tasteless. Don't let the harshness of the world snuff out the light that I have placed in you. You all, and that includes every one of us here, have been called to discipleship. Go out now and do it. That's the point. When I think really hard about that, and what it means for us as a church today, I start to get a little nervous. I get uncomfortable. And it's not because it's not because we don't want to have our light shine so that others may see our good works and give glory to our Father in heaven. Because we do, don't we? Don't we want others to know about the awesome, freely given forgiveness and love received in Christ? Sure we do. But what about that person who called you a Bible beater a while back? What about that group that says you can only be a real Christian if you believe things their way? What about the corruption, the hate, divisions, racism, hopelessness, and sin in our world? I venture a guess that a lot of us here today are maybe feeling like a trampled piece of salt, or like a candle hiding under a bushel basket right now, as we think about all the things that make being a disciple of Christ so hard. We might even be wondering what the point is of even trying to be Jesus' disciple anymore. Surely we can just go to church or confirmation or Bible study and absorb the gospel and then just go take it home with us, right? We can hang out with Jesus a little bit longer on the mount, right? The quick answer to that is no. We are not called as disciples of Jesus to just keep the words of the gospel bottled inside of us. Yes, we are to be nourished by it as we praise God and worship, and as we learn and fellowship together. Yes, we are to absorb it so that it can become part of our very core of our being. But hide the light that Jesus has placed within us. Hide the good works that can flow from the grace so freely given to us. Leave our meals, the lives that God has granted us, bland and without the flavor of the gospel. That is, to be disciples who lack the gumption to share the heart, knowledge, hope, and life we find in Christ with others? No. To be disciples who shine so brightly with the love and grace of God that no hate, division, or sin can take over? Absolutely. Dear brothers and sisters in Christ, being the church today is hard. Rising up for the sake of the gospel when we see it being used to hurt others is hard. But it is our Lord Jesus Christ who has declared us to be salt and light for the world. We have value. We are loved. It is our Lord Jesus Christ who sits with us here in this place, preparing and nourishing us for the hard life of discipleship. Yes, our eyes will glaze over from time to time. Sure, we won't always understand what relevance the gospel has in some parts of our lives. But when those things happen, when being a bold light in the world seems pointless or scary, God in Jesus Christ reminds us that we don't walk this life of discipleship alone. We have bread and wine for the journey. We have a new and risen life that we are invited to participate in every day with Christ. We have been called and claimed in baptism as God's children, whose lights can shine for those who still sit in darkness, death, and sin, so that they may see that God is indeed there with them, that God is indeed good and just, that God cares for the mourning, the meek, the hurting, the oppressed, and that God calls us to care for them too. God has called us to be lights on lampstands in a very dark world. So as I sometimes do in my sermons, I want to ask you a question or two or several to think about this week. Where have you seen the light and hope of Christ shining in our darkened world? In a friend? In a stranger? And here's the tough thing. How have you been a light for others? How have you brought the hope of the gospel, the love and grace of God to others? How and where have you seen the power and goodness of the gospel break through lately in your life, in the lives of others, and in our world? Those are perhaps hard questions to answer. And that's okay. Sometimes being a follower of Jesus is just that. It's hard. And yet it is a life that we have been called to live. We have been called by the God who loves us to love others. We have been set apart. We have been blessed. We have been made holy so that we may give light to all in the house. And not so that we might just sit and listen with glazed over eyes, figuring that someone else will do the hard work of sharing the gospel in word and deed. We are salt. We are light. May we remember that when this life of discipleship gets tough. May we remember that when life, learning, and worship occasionally lose their flavor. That we are always being made new. We are always being prepared by God to do the hard and humbling work of being God's hands and feet, of being salt and light for and to our world. Amen.